Hello, everybody. I have a new album coming out in 2024, and it's called The Harvest. And I've been working on it, working on recording it and composing it in my free time since January. The concept of the album is about what it's like to visit your hometown as an adult. And I made a special 2-month trip to New Jersey to get into character earlier this year. A lot of the arrangements were actually written or done on when I had some free time on the bus from Newark to my office in DC. I just finished recording the core instrumental tracks, including like all the rhythm guitar and stuff, this weekend. And so now I'm down to just vocals and some guitar solos and stuff. So I figured it's a good time. Finally, I have actually something physical I could share with everyone. Maybe some short clips of each of the songs just to give you a flavor of what I've been working on all this time. So I'm going to give you a play-by-play of what each song's sort of about and what it sounds like to the extent that it's, the lyrics are written. But here we go. The first song is called Maplewood Life, and I'm not from Maplewood, New Jersey, but that's where I had originally planned to live after college until the company that I was working for at the time that was over in Morris Plains got bought out by Pfizer, and I decided to go to law school instead and follow whatever life's twists and turns that happened from there. So I rented an Airbnb in Maplewood for a month, for the month of January pretty much, which is really nice inner suburb of Newark, if you want to call it that. It's near like South Orange, which some of you may have heard of, probably a little more famous than Maplewood. And this song and the album starts out with some nostalgic New Jersey sounds, like the clanging of a radiator in one of the Airbnbs I was in New Jersey, and the sound of traffic on Route 22, which is like, I think I actually did it in what's that called, Hillside, New Jersey, but that's near Maplewood. Same general area, but I found a nice place to pull over and record some automobile sounds on a typical New Jersey highway. And then I play a guitar riff that I think is sort of reminiscent, or it's supposed to be reminiscent of, like a late 70s New Jersey beach music. Maybe think like the River by Bruce Springsteen or something like that. That leads into the song, and the song is about my aspirations of spending some time where I grew up after living away for so long. For me, I guess like 20 years since I lived there at least. So, okay, here is a sample of Maplewood Life. And the next song has kind of a more lively feel to it, and it's called Unfinished Business. It's about I guess, sort of the hopes of picking up where I left off 20 years ago and jumping into my former life as a vacation, sort of. The rhythm guitar on the track is acoustic and has kind of a fast, funky feel to it. Not quite Nuno Bettencourt style, but something I was thinking along those lines. Side one of the album is generally going to be more bright and optimistic. Not that anything terrible happened on this trip or anything, but fitting with the concept and the storyline of the album. And yes, that means I'm going to release this one on vinyl because it has a side one and a side two. And it also means I kept it down to 10 songs so I could fit it on vinyl. So here is a sample of Unfinished Business, which is unfinished business at this point still. Song 3 is called Dash It Up, and it's about getting ready to go out for a night on town in New York City. And I still have a lot of lyrics to work on this one, so I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to end up contradicting what the song is actually about when it's done. So But I still have a lot of work on it, and so I'll just play the clip and give you an idea for now, and then move on. Here we go. Here is Dash It Up. All right, next is called Bar at the Ski Resort, and this is sort of where the album takes a turn for a little bit dark, as everybody's moved away, and I end up with a lot more alone time on my hands than expected as a result. And being from a rural mountainous area of New Jersey, I find myself at the bar at the local ski resort watching tourists roll down the mountain, which is going to be part of the chorus, like snowballs, while meeting some of the next generation of Vernon Valley residents at the ski resort. Here is a sample of that song. And we will close out side A or side one, whatever you want to call it, of the album with a song called I Don't Write Love Songs, which is a love song about why I don't write love songs. So again, this is another one where I haven't written too many of the words other than the chorus, so I don't want to get into too much detail because I frankly don't know what the song is entirely about yet. But I'm working on the lyrics, and I'll share what I have for now. Here's a quick sample of what I've got recorded so far. Yeah, I think it has a little bit of a Baroque feel to it, and musically it reminds me, and I think Mom said the same thing, that it reminds her a little bit of Pirate Ship Ride, because it has some zither in it, and some musically it has some similarities, even though it's going to be about a completely different topic. Here it is, I Don't Write Love Songs. Okay, so then we flip over the album to side B, and it starts with the song Harvest Time, which is, I guess, the only recycled song on the album. It's the first song I wrote in Florida, actually, back in 2014 when I came down here. And although I completely re-recorded almost all the tracks, I kept the guitar solo because I kind of liked it a lot, and I didn't feel like playing it again. But anyway, it's all about the things associated with the fall, which Florida doesn't have down here. And the harvest season, specifically in New Jersey, and especially the New York Giants. One of the updates I made to the lyrics was changing the line, what was it, Manning Cruz touchdown drive. I changed it to Jones Barkley touchdown drive. And also in January, it does relate to my trip because I got to see my first in-person Giants game. I've been a Giant fan for like forever, and I have never actually been to one of their games in person, which is a travesty, especially since I'd taken my son to see one of the Eagles games, and I'm a little ashamed of that. But anyway, yeah, I got to see them in good old East Rutherford on my trip, and this song has musically some cool tapping parts on both the electric and acoustic guitar, and I guess I'll give a sample that includes that portion. All right, here is Harvest Time. And by the way, I mean, how could you have an album called The Harvest, and you have a song already called Harvest Time, and you don't put it on there? I mean, that would just be nonsense, so I had to.
It's harvest time again. It's harvest time again.
And then we get to track number 7, which is my favorite song on the album, but it's also quite possibly the darkest song on the album. It's called Diners and Festivals. And the concept is, despite all that's changed over time, there are still a few things you can count on as always staying the same in New Jersey, like the diners and the boardwalks and festivals, even if they feel different visiting them alone as an adult when they did when you were hanging out with your friends and family as a kid. Musically, I think this is a chance for me to show off some jazz chords and melancholy piano lines and things like that. Sort of the theme of the song is that, everything has changed, but for the diners and festivals, that's what's still the same. And supposedly it's supposed to make you think, well, is it really New Jersey that's changed? I'm sure it's the same for the kids growing up, or is it just me that changed? And my situation has changed. And that's sort of we'll get into the idea of the album again towards the end after we get through these songs at least. But anyway, here's a sample of my favorite Diners and Festivals. All right, 8th song is called These Houses Look So Small, and it's about the difference in perception as an adult versus a child in some of the places that were critical to, your childhood and seemed larger than life back then. And I actually looked this up and read a scientific paper on it. This is an actual thing, so it's not just me. And a lot of people I've talked to about the song, as I was writing it, were like, "Oh yeah, the houses look smaller where I grew up when I went back." And it's not just, it is just perception, but at the same time, it's actually a psychological thing. This is normal, or so I'm told. Okay, here is this. These houses are so small. All right, number 9 is my second favorite song on the album for a few reasons. It's called Memories on Ice, and that's sort of a double meaning to it because it's about memories that are frozen in time, which is kind of a theme running through the whole album. And it's also a song about ice skating. It's about my specific memories of ice skating. And each verse I'll discuss an ice skating experience I had throughout my life at different stages, from on the lake in my hometown to at college, to in Virginia with my wife and son, to one of my most recent trips to New Jersey. It wasn't this particular one; it was the previous one, visiting the ice rink in Menlo Park and making a few laps around the ice. The chorus of the song is designed specifically to sound like something you'd hear while you're going around at high speed doing a lap on the ice rink, specifically to capture that memory or to bring that memory to your mind, and the feeling of cruising around the rink at high speed. So it's also not a coincidence that going around the rink in the circle is sort of being analogized to the cycle of life. So here is a sample of Memories on Ice. Finally, and like I said, I had to keep it down to 10 songs. We're up to number 10, This is the last song. It's called When Harvest Is Through, which is, I guess, fitting since the name of the album is The Harvest. And after this song, The Harvest Is Through. So this is sort of where I came to all my conclusions about, maybe why I fit in more in my present life than I do in my hometown, despite, that being such a big part of my identity. And I think this is something kind of universal. I think it's something anyone can kind of relate to. If you've stepped away from where you grew up for a decade or two and then go back, you remember it as, and you feel like it's your identity, and then you go back there and it's sort of, something foreign to you. And it turns out, your current life is really where it's at, in terms of what you enjoy doing. I mean, you picked this current life for a reason, right? I mean, that was the life you were brought into, but your current life is sort of where you are because of the choices you made. And in part, it's almost fictional where you grew up, because that place isn't there anymore. I mean, the place is, and like diners and festivals say, the diners and the festivals are, but the situation that you were in at that time has totally changed. And the conclusion is that if you go back and try to harvest your childhood on a vacation, you're going to find that you can't really do that, because a lot of that is really in the circumstances much more than the place. And the place has changed, the people have changed. And that's sort of the main idea of the album, I think. That's the punchline of this album, that maybe it's not the New Jersey so much that's changed as it's me, So not that I have any dislike for New Jersey. I had an awesome time there, and I definitely spend plenty more time there in the future, but it's not the same as New Jersey growing up, and it never will be, and neither is anybody's hometown when you go back and visit it. So here is a part of When Harvest Is Through. This is a really orchestral musically, I think, and I'm even going to I'm going to try to make some fireworks sounding sounds on my guitar at the end, although I haven't done that because I haven't done the lead guitar yet. It's going to be part of like the outro solo. I've done the bangs on the timpani drums to sort of like when the fireworks pop, but I'm going to have like the rising and falling. Well, I guess they don't fall. The rising of the fireworks, I'm going to try to make sounds like that on my guitar right before the pops. We'll see how that works. Here you go. When Harvest Is Through. So I hope, if nothing else, it's as entertaining as the other stuff that I've done throughout my music career, even if it's a little darker subject matter than my previous stuff. And then hopefully it's a little more relatable too. I mean, there's probably a lot more people that can relate to these types of things than to, embedding themselves in a Chinese restaurant for a couple of years after a divorce, or to a city coming to life and, analogizing it to a quantum computer. So this is sort of a departure thematically from me, although it's still in the line of sort of a concept album. Musically, I think I'm sort of progressing. I mean, I think this is sort of a natural progression. The type of songs that are on this album, and musically the complexity of them, but at the same time, it is a little bit of a departure from some of my. If you started out listening to me when I was metal, or later on when I was punk, I mean, this is definitely going to be different. But at the same time, it's sort of been a path in this direction, I think, as I started adding more instruments to my songs, and then the songs themselves became a little more complicated. Yeah, and also I think my biggest complaint about the last album, and it has to do with this, was that it was a little less guitar heavy, and that I was missing some of the guitar enthusiasm that was in some of my earlier metal albums and stuff. But I assure you, I still know how to play guitar, and I am going to record the leads with that in mind. But I want to do it after the vocals. I'm going to take sort of a Van Halen approach to it, where you use the guitars to fill up all the gaps and things like that, as opposed to how I did on the previous album, where I had a part of a song that was called a guitar solo, and that's where I played my guitar solo. And I think that's where I went wrong on the previous album, in terms of not, showing off any impressive guitar work, really. I mean, the solos are cool; they fit the songs, but it's not a guitar album. And this isn't going to be really a guitar album either, although it'll be. I will be making an effort to satisfy the people who gave me that criticism, because they're right. I mean, okay. So I hope to have most of the lyrics finalized and vocals recorded before the Music Biz conference in Nashville at the end of this May. And I'll probably make another video when that happens, or I don't know, or maybe I'll just start by releasing a song, maybe some sort of demo that I could pass out in Nashville, where I expect to be playing maybe some of the material live for anybody who's attending that. And I do want to do a release party like I did for the previous album, and I want that to be this year. I think I could have it ready for my birthday, January 20th. And when it gets a little closer to the release date, I'll confirm that. And since that's so close to Christmas too, I don't know if any of you are on my, probably most of the people that are watching this are on my Christmas card distribution list. And if you are, I'll see if I can, it's a tall order, but I will see if I can get the vinyl done by then and send it out to my inner circle with the Christmas cards. And if you want one, let me know. Let me know later, because we're still talking about a product that doesn't even exist yet. But you see, it's getting there. This is proof. That's part of why I put this stuff out and set the deadlines like this too, so I can keep myself on schedule, and so you guys can keep me honest. So where's my album? Okay, so I'll see you there. I may see one or two of you at the music conference in Nashville, and I hope to see all of you. It'll be an open release party again, an online virtual thing. Although maybe I'll have an in-person element too this year. We'll see. Depends where I am. Till then, thanks for listening.